Hi there guys, my name is Aaron and you can learn making create together with me in Adobe Photoshop. Today I'm going to show you how you can retouch a portrait. So without any further ado, let's get started. And here you have a bunch of raw files. Link is in the description if you want to work with one of them. So I think that I'm gonna stick with this one that I made some changes on the light on the color. So I just clicked on auto and here we have a before and after. I'm just gonna click here open, and after it's done, after we have opened the portrait in camera, as you can see, I'm just gonna create another copy here of the background. So just drag and drop the background to the plus and rename this before, because we want to put this up to check a before and after every time that you are working. So here we have the tools, and today we are going to use the tool for the cleaning, the tools for dodge and burn, for the filtration, and everything else. So here we are in Adobe Photoshop, and the first thing that we are going to do into this portrait is that we want to clean. So I'm just gonna drag and drop this again to the plus and rename this clean. And we will start cleaning with the spot healing brush tool, and patch tool. So I'm gonna click here on the spot healing brush tool, and I will zoom in where I want to start cleaning this portrait, just like this. And for them who are asking, I'm using Vacuum Tools Pro S, the pen, so I'm not using a mouse. And if you want to speed up your workflow of retouch, make sure to get the pen tablet because it will fasten your workflow, and it will be so much easier to retouch your portraits. So basically, all you have to do into a portrait is clean, dodge and burn. If you want to make changes on the skin with finger separation, you can do that. Or if you don't want that, you can leave it out. And after you're done with clean, dodge and burn, and you can color grade too, finish the portrait and export it for the social media. For example, for Instagram, you have to go by 4:5. Now check out before and after of the clean. As you can see, you can create some help layers too by clicking here and click on the black and white, and here we have the black and white layer, and you can switch from default to blue filter or darker or green filter, depends on the contrast that we are looking for this portrait. See the details where we want to clean. For example, this one is okay, and I think that just makes a little changes on the reds and yellows. You can zoom in and you can see the details where you want to clean. For example, here, and if we turn off, we can't see some things. And if you leave it on, that black and white help layer, we can see the details better. So let's just keep cleaning this portrait until we are finished. So here we are after you've done some cleaning. And now that we're done with clean, it's time for dodge and burn. So I'm just gonna merge these two layers into one. Right click, click here on the merge layers. Now, as you can see, moving to the actions, because I have been using work with actions for a long time. Sorry, so I'm just gonna click here and click on curves. Just make the portrait lighter, bring the brightness that. And as you can see, the layer mask is white, so we have to switch it into black. So just click Control and I, and it will be black. So I'm just gonna rename this Dodge. And click here again, click on curves and drag this down, portrait darker. This, and again, click Control and I. Rename this burn, where we want to dodge and burn this portrait. And we sure need the black and white help layer. So again, I'm going to click here and click on black and white. As you can see, And I'm gonna make the reds dark, just 4, and yellows 2, because that one we used, it was kind of too much. So we are going to use and leave on or off, depends on the requires. So click here on dodge and click B for brush, or just click here, click on the brush and opacity by 100% and flow by 2%, and zoom in where you want to start dodging this portrait. Here we have the general brush, the soft round brush is the brush from the Photoshop, so it's default. We don't use a specific brush or a special one. Don't worry, we work with the defaults. Check a before and after every time you're working. For example, we made a mistake by making the opacity by 10%. It has to be 100% and 2% of the flow. Just keep dodging this portrait. Another way that you can dodge and burn in as a professional, you have to click here on window, click orange, and click here new window for the name file. Now click again to the window and click orange and choose 2 up vertical. As you can see, we have the same window but in 2 windows. The reason why I'm doing this, because when you're dodge and burning a portrait, you have to zoom in and zoom out every time, because you want to see what's going on, you have to zoom in and zoom out. So we don't need that. We can create 2 windows, and we will leave the left window in zoom out like this, and in the right window we will be working as a zoom in, much as you want to dodge and burn into the portrait. You can even zoom out just a little more, and everything that we do in the right window, it will be shown the left. So keep dodging this portrait until you think that is okay. So right now we are going to put another layer here. When we will see the details better. So I'm just gonna click here, curves, make some changes. This you can see the portrait will become darker, more like contrast. You can see before and after. Now click again on the dodge and just keep painting until we think that we are good to go. Now you can zoom out and check a before and after of the dodge. As you can see, before and after of everything. And I think that is looking okay. I'm going to reduce it just a little. Now click on the burn and turn on the black and white help layers. Zoom in where you want to burn this portrait. So I think that I'm going to start here in the forehead with the highlights that are kind of too much. So here's before and after of the burn. You can see without the black and white help layers. And I think that is okay. And now that you're done with the dodge and burn, you can just remove the left window, because we have this one. As you can see before and after, you can reduce the opacity if you think that is kind of too much. So I think that I'm gonna go just a little down with the burn. Now click dodge, and I think the dodge is okay. I'm just gonna merge them both into a single one, delete the black and white help layers, because we are done with the clean and the dodge and burn. And right now I'm just gonna work the eyes. So here we have the eyes, and I think that I'm gonna put some light here inside them. And just click here on the curves again and increase just a little, and put the layer mask into black, because the white shown in entire window. Start it with a brush with 100% opacity, 100% low, and just paint side of them just like this. Sorry, it have to be like 10-20% opacity. 100% is too much. just paint until you think that is okay. Now zoom out and check a before and after. And I think that they're looking good. Now you can create another one, but make some changes here to make it like contrast, that, and invert it again. Zoom in and just paint with 100% of the brush, just like that. Now check it before and after, and 100% of the opacity of the layer is way too much. So I'm gonna go by 25. Now check it before and after of this entire process, and I think they are looking great. Now merge them again. Now if you want to create an separation layer, you can just make 2 layers from the background and rename this color or low, and rename this texture or high. So right now I'm gonna click here on the color, turn on the texture layer, click here and click on the voice, and you can choose the median or the dust and scratches. So I'm gonna click here on dust and scratches, make this portrait kind of blurry. For example, this one, I'm gonna zoom out, and I will blur this portrait just a little more. I think that 36 or maybe 40 is enough. Click OK. And here we have the color or the low layer. Wait until this one is done, because it will take just a little time. Now check it before and after. As you can see, it's totally blurry. Now click on the texture and click here on image and click apply image. Choose from merged, choose the color that is low, click on here, color and low. From from the blending mode that is multiply, click here on the subtract, scale by 2 and offset by 128, click OK. Switch the blending mode that is normal to linear light, and here we have the frequency separation. So I'm just gonna click here on control, right click and group for layers, and you can rename frequency separation layer. Now check before and after, nothing is happening because we have the color and the texture on. So here's on the blur. One thing that I usually do in my actions or in my workflow, or how do I say, how I work, is that I create duplicate layers. So I'm just gonna drag and drop this into the plus. And here we have a second layer, which is copy, because for example, if you're working on the first one and we make a mistake, we have to delete this and do it all over again. So I just create a copy and leave it here. So if we make a mistake here on the copy, we still have the original below. So I'm just gonna click here and click here that says create clipping mask. So everything that we do here, keep it here, and if you make a mistake, you can always delete it, go back to the original one and create another one. So the same is for the texture, so just drag and drop this into the plus, and here we have, it's kind of too much, but don't worry, we have to create a clipping mask here and switch the blending mode from normal, from linear light to normal. And here we have the frequency separation. In the color, sometimes I work with a spot healing brush tool, and patch tool to remove something that we don't want into portrait, like pimples, black moles and everything else. But right now I'm going to use the mixer brush. So the settings for the mixer brush that I use in frequency separation, especially in the color, are wet by 10%, load by 45, mix by 33, and flow by 33. And here we have again the soft brush that is default in Adobe Photoshop. As I said before, we don't have anything special here. I'm just gonna mix the skin tones of this portrait. Sometimes I leave the texture off, but we can turn it on if you want, or if you don't want that. And make sure that sample layers is unchecked, because if it's checked, it will sample all the layers and create it here. So make sure that is unchecked. and just keep mixing the skin tones of this portrait until you think that is okay. But you have to make sure that you don't overdo this, because if you do that, the portrait will be like a flat layer, and everything that was before like original, it will be gone. Make sure that when you are cleaning and when you are dodging and burning the portrait, you can do it a better way. For example, you can take some time to clean, and you can take some time to dodge and burn this portrait. And if we do that correctly, we don't need the frequency separation. But if you're a fan of both of them, you can do that. Why not? So basically, we have to finish the work, the color, as I said. You have to mix the skin tones and everything else. For example, you have to work first on the face, and after we are done with the face, you can go to the neck, chest, and other parts like hands, legs, and everything else that we have in our portraits. Now check a before and after on the color. As you can see, we have removed some highlights and things over here. And if you think that is kind of too much, you can always lower the opacity of this one, for example, percent or 75 or something like that. And when you are done in the color, we have to keep working just a little more on the texture. So the work that we do in the texture is more like cleaning, but in a different way. So different way is that we clean, or we make some changes with a clone stamp tool. Clone stamp tool is here. Zoom in where you want to start cleaning. So we have to make sure that opacity is 100% and flow 100% and mode is normal. So clone stamp tool works this way. You have to click Alt keyboard, hold it, and just click to make a copy, and just paint to paste. As you can see, we can remove the lines that are in the forehead, but you have to be careful on this part, because, for example, if you copy the texture that is here and paste it here, as you can see, the texture will be fake and it doesn't look original. So make sure to copy and paste as near as possible. But as I said before, when you are cleaning the beginning and you dodge and burn the portrait, you don't need to do this process, but I'm showing it just because there are a bunch of ways to retouch a portrait. And if you're a beginner, I would highly suggest you to take your time and clean the portrait just a little more than I did in the beginning of this video tutorial. So we have to make some changes, as I said, on the texture, but not that much. So here we have a before and after of the frequency separation. And I think that we are good to go, because I don't want to make this portrait look fake. Here we have the before and here we have the after. And right now, I'm gonna create here an empty layer to dodge and burn this portrait too. As I did it before with the dodge and burn, click on the curves and just bring the highlights right here and invert this. Rename dodge. Create another one curve layer. Bring down just a little more and invert it. Now rename it burn. Sorry. Now click here on the dodge and click B for brush, 100% opacity, 100% flow. I'm just gonna paint where I want to put some highlights into this portrait. As you can see, 100% is way too much. I think that 40% of the brush is okay. I'm just gonna click where I want to make it brighter. And here we have before and after. And if you think that is too much, you can always lower it by 50%. I'll check it before and after. Okay. Now click on the burn. And I will burn the cheeks just a little, around the forehead, why not? Around the eyebrows, just a little. Now you can check it before and after. And if you think that is kind of too much, always you can lower the opacity of the entire layer. And I think that 45 is way too much, so I'm gonna go by 35. Now check it before and after of this entire process. And I think that is okay, but removed kind of too much highlight here. So I'm gonna go again to the dodge with 100% brush I'm just gonna paint it just like that. I'll check it before and after. And as you can see, is way too sharp. So to enter the layer mask, you have to click Alt keyboard and click here. And here we have that highlight that we created on the. So I'm just gonna click here on the laser tool and just selection of it. Click here on the filter, click on blur, and click on the Gaussian blur, and increase the radius until this one is more smooth, like 41 maybe. Click OK. Select by clicking Control and D. And to enter all the layer mask, just hold Alt keyboard again and click it here. And here we have a before and after. OK. Now check a before and after of this entire process again. And I think that we are good with the filtration. And one more thing that we can add into a portrait is that we can change the lipstick color, which is pink, but we can do that clicking here on the solid color and choose whatever color that you want, for example, as a reference. Layer mask is white, which is we have to switch it into black again, and you can make a selection with the pen tool, or you can just brush over it with 100% opacity and 100% flow. Just paint it. We have to switch the blending mode from normal to soft light, just like that. And as you can see, we painted inside the mouth, so we have to zoom in just a little and paint it out with a black brush, or you can do it with a pen tool, which I prefer the most. Right click, make a selection. For the feather radius, I think that one will be enough, and just put the black color under and just click Control and delete. It will be removed. You can zoom in, zoom out and check it before and after. As you can see, it's kind of too much, so I think that I have to put the opacity by 50% maybe. And if you think that lines are kind of too sharp, you can just double click here and increase the feather just a little. Now check it before and after. You can double click here and you can choose another color for your lipstick, but I think that I'm gonna stick with this one. You can even play with the blending modes to check which one is more natural. So you can click here on normal, dull, darken, apply, color burn, etc., until you find that one of them is working better than other before. For example, multiply will be okay too, as you can see, but the highlights are gone. So to bring back the highlights, you have to double click here and you will enter the layer style section. And here we have underlying layers. We have this one is for the highlights to bring them back. This one is for the shadows, but we are going to click Alt keyboard into the highlights and bring this little. I think here will be enough for of this one. Now check it before and after. Here we have the highlights and shadows that are really good. And as I said, 50% or 100% are kind of too much sometimes. So I think that I'm gonna go by 35 maybe and leave it there. Now check it before and after. Looking great. One more thing that we can add into this portrait is that work on the makeup. For example, you can create empty layer here, choose the color. I think that I'll go with this one, lips, and switch the blending mode from normal, light, and just paint it over there. And here we have some makeup better color. You can zoom out, check it before and after, and you think that is too much. As I said, always you can reduce the quality of that. 5 will be enough. Now after, Great. Now I'm gonna add another empty layer. There's the blending mode from normal to soft light. And I will be working with black and white to add some shadows and highlights to this layer, just like that. I'm gonna paint it like eyeliner, just like that. Now let's switch it into the white. Just paint it. Now check it before and after. It's looking good, but we need to make changes later. So again, do the same process with the black. And after we are done, just switch it into white. You can click X keyboard, X, just paint it. You always switch. We can just click it here. Check it before and after. As you can see, is really bad here, but you can create layer mask here. The black layer brush and just paint it out. Now check it before and after. Now we have to bring down the opacity of this layer because 100% is way too much. So I think that for 35 will be enough. Now zoom in and double click again here. And here we have again the underlying layers, sorry. Just bring the middle. Check it before and after. And if you think that is way too much, you can always lower the opacity. So I'm going to go by 20%. Now check it before and after of this entire process. And for the lipstick too, if you think that is much, you can always lower it. Now check it before and after of this entire process. And I think that is looking great. Now that you are done, you can just merge these layers into one. And if you want to sharpen this portrait, just make another copy of the background. Click here on the filter, go to other and click on high pass. And I think that 4 pixels of the radius is enough. Click OK. Here's the blending mode from normal, soft light. Now zoom in, check it before and after. And if you think that is not enough, you can always go to filter, other, and click on high pass again. Click OK, which was 4. And I think that we are good to go. We can merge them again into one. Now here we have a before and after of everything that we have done into this video tutorial. So that's it for this video tutorial. If you think that is helpful and you think that you learned something from me, make sure to leave some comments down below. Let me know if this one worked for you or not. Let me know if I'm understandable or not. And when you are when you learn more for the retouch, make sure to check my latest video tutorials always, because I put a video tutorial like 2 to 3 months. So that's it for this video tutorial. I hope you find this useful and you learned something from me. Make sure to leave some comments down below. Let me know if you learned a thing or two from this video tutorial. Let me know if I'm understandable or not. And make sure to check all the video tutorials that I have in my channel, because I will teach you how you can retouch like a pro. This one today, it was for beginners. So if you want to get into retouch like deeper, make sure to check all my video tutorials, and you can click the link that is in the description, my Telegram channel, where you will find the raw files that I've been using in my previous video tutorials. And see you guys in the next one. Peace.